we are now in the 9th group of the alphabet. We have O, C, and E. And like I mentioned in the previous video, letter C has the same entry stroke as S, L, and G right here, wherein we have this big oval, oblique oval that we are doing counterclockwise. But I've moved C out of that group into this group because C does not have the capital stem stroke, and the body of its letter follows the shape of an oval, which these three letters share together. For letter O, you have this sort of like spiraling motion here, and these two shades here are ornamental shades. And if I complete the oval, there is a bigger oval here where that would be your guide for how wide you want to make this stroke. The way that we execute this letter is we start somewhere right around here at the top, add the shade, this is your main shade, and then circle in and keep it parallel to the main stroke, and then go back and do this final stroke. It sort of looks like a bang, a hair curling into the body of the letter. You can adjust how your oval in the middle looks like, where it's situated. You could make it taller, make it shorter. You could experiment with that and see how you like it. But the main thing is you would want to keep a similar curvature for your C and E, same as your O. So for C, you want to keep the same oval as you did with your S, L, and G. And the body would be an ellipse, an oval. So what's different with this, the Engrosser script C that I see versus copperplate or English roundhand ones, is that the shade is outside. So this is actually a shade that is added afterwards, similar to how we add the shade here. Because the way that we execute the letter is we create this entry stroke and then the body, and then curl in, and then go back and add the shade in. For other styles of C, you would see that when they curl in, they would add the shade here, which is also up to you. If you want to have the shade there, then you don't have to put the shade here. But I particularly like having the shade on the outside, and I think it makes sense because you want to show that oval shape and you want to balance out that letter as opposed to having the shade inside. So there's nothing here, it's just a hairline. I prefer it better for the shade to be outside. Same for E. You have accent shades here, and this one you can create in a downward motion. You could start the letter right here, create your first oval. You're tracing an oval here, and then stop and create another oval. And in essence, because you're creating two ovals on top of each other, that's how your loop is created. And then curl in and then go back and add this shade last, and then finish up the top by curling in here, and that shade you would be able to add naturally because you're going in a downward motion as opposed to here going upwards, so you have to go back. So let's try writing our O, C, and E. Big oval, and then curl in and try to mimic the same curvature, and try as best as you can to end with a hairline and keep it parallel to each other. And then I like to trace back and curl in. Okay, now I think I made that too wide, but I mean, it still looks good. It's just not my ideal choice for the bang for the top there. I like to keep it closer. Okay, now the second oval is taller than the first one. You could try that out too and see how you like that look. Okay, so I think this is better because it's not jutting out too much and taking away from the overall letter, which is the letter O, and this I think might be too distracting. Okay, let's do a C wherein we use the same entry stroke. Then I like to rest at the bottom and then think about how you're curling in. I don't quite like how high I curled that in. That's okay. Let's add the accent shade at the top. If I compare this to my SLNG, I don't think I gave enough space here. So let me try again and make that entry stroke, even though it's just ornamental, we want to keep our choices as similar as possible. Okay, I like that one better. Slightly better. And I think I have something on my nib because this hairline doesn't look as thin as this hairline anymore. That's okay. There you have the letter C. Now let's do an E. This style of E is the style that I like. There is another one in the Zenarian manual that I don't quite like. I'll demo it in a little bit. This one I like it because it's simple. Maybe I would like to lengthen. I would have liked that loop to be more elongated because I have this gap here. But this is the first version of E. The second version, which is the main version in the Zenarian manual, kind of looks like this, where there's a curly Q happening, which I find to be too much, but maybe that's just me. I find that having a curl here is too much for me. I kind of prefer the simpler version of the E. Okay, so here we have our oval group O, C, and E. I'm gonna tackle letter D separately, even though you can consider it as an oval letter itself as well, because I think by the general consensus, D is the hardest letter in the alphabet. So I want to dedicate a separate video for that. And then the final group, we also need to tackle N, M, and A.